Welcome to Spenelli Speaks. Danny here, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, I hope you stick around and check out the other videos that I have for you. If you feel so compelled, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you see all the videos that I post right away. Now, I am on a series of my bookshelf reorganization, so if you've seen the last couple of videos, this is part 4. Last time I did these two shelves here, which were like my Harry Potter shelf and apparently my vampire shelf. So if you haven't seen that, I'll link that up above and take a look at that after this video, if you don't mind. And go ahead and comment below. What did you like about last video, or what are you looking forward to in this video? Or technically, if you've already watched this video, what did you think? Did you read any of these books? This shelf is the 5th and final shelf of my bookshelf. So we went through the first 4 shelves. This is the 5th and final shelf. And I actually have books on top of the shelf that I'll be talking about as well. There's only a couple up there. They're real big, so that's why they're up there. So why is this the comic book shelf, Danny? Well, it holds a lot of my comic books or graphic novels and books that I deemed more that kind of thing. So we're gonna get right into it. Some of these books are just up here because I needed space, didn't have anywhere else to put them, so they might not actually be along the lines of that comic book genre. So first being this book, which actually is not my own book. This is Chasing the Falconers by Gordon Korman. If you watched my last video, you saw I had an R.L. Stine book, and it was on here, my stepdaughter's book, but it's here because it's a signed copy. So anytime we have any signed copies in the house, it goes on a shelf where it can be taken care of. Gordon Korman is a children's author, does a really great job, has a ton of different books out there for kids. My stepdaughter loves his writing, so we actually had an opportunity to see him. He came and spoke at one of our book festivals, and we got a signed copy. So that is here. I'm going to go ahead and put it right into that shelf where I have the R.L. Stine, so those two are together. So good, gone, bye, off that shelf. Then a few of these books I actually picked up when I was out, say like at a rummage sale or just out and about, and they kind of spoke to me as books that are good or were good, or books that I should read, or books that my stepdaughter should read. So the first being Julie of the Wolves. This is a young, I wouldn't say like children, like kids book, but it's like a middle grade book, and it was winner of the Newbery Medal, so it's gotta be good. So that's on that shelf there. I don't know that I'll read it, maybe if I read it to children in the future. Then there's this one here, The Chocolate War. Now again, in my last video I went off about chocolate. I'm not going to do it again. Sorry guys, I just don't like chocolate. But I saw this, thought it was really interesting that the pages were green. It's super old, like it's all kind of dilapidated. And I just was like, huh. Very 70s looking attire here. Thought I would pick it up. The book pages are like so old, they're yellowed already. Someone who read this wrote in it, so I don't know, I picked it up probably at a rummage sale, thought it would be interesting, so I might read that one. I don't really know what it's about, but that's what books are for, right? Then I have Because of Winn-Dixie. This was made into a movie. I haven't seen the movie, but I have heard really good things. This is a middle grade book again. Again, sometimes what I do is I preemptively buy books for future children and children I'm going to read to in the future. The future. I don't know when, but someday I'll read this to a child. So there's that. Then we have The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. I had to read this in one of my very first English classes with a professor, Carl Bowler, who basically created the rest of my life for me. He is such a phenomenal teacher, professor, person individual human being that I couldn't imagine doing anything else but reading and exploring literature and exploring authors and writers and short storyists. I don't know if that's a word, but he opened my eyes to a whole new world, and I can't thank him enough. And in this particular class, this was the required reading for all of the freshmen that year. And it's Tim O'Brien, The Things They Carried. It's a wartime novel. Really goes in deep into the minds of the soldiers and the things that they carried with them. So very, very good book. If you haven't read this and you like wartime novels, I highly recommend it. It was very, very good. So that I did read and I really liked. Then one of my all-time favorite books by Lewis Laurie, The Giver. I have flatly refused to see the movie. If you can't tell by my shirt, don't judge a book by its movie. This is one that typically I will watch a movie for a book. Typically. I could not bring myself to even watch previews for this movie because this book touched me so much. The first time I read it, I think I was an 8th grader, so I think I was about 13. And it just shook me to my core at that age. And I've reread it about 3 or 4 times since. And every time I read it, it blows my mind. It's so good. And I haven't even brought myself to read the sequels for it because the book is so important to me that I just don't want to ruin it by anything. So, one of my favorite books. If you have yourself not read this book, I highly recommend it. If you have children that are in the, I would say 13 and upwards, have them read it. It's an excellent, excellent book. It's about a young boy. He lives in a world that they don't see color. They are kind of assigned families. There's babies are born by certain women and then passed out basically. It's so good. It's so good. So I highly recommend that you read that one. And then here's one that I have not yet read. I think I saw it at a rummage sale. I had heard the title before, so I thought I would get it, but it's Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. I thought this was a movie. I think these are comparable to your John Green novels, but I thought that I would pick it up because it was popular at the time and see if it would be something that I would want to read. So that may come into a TBR at some point, maybe not this year, but it is something that when I see something for real cheap at a rummage sale or at a library or whatever, I pick it up because you just never know. It's always good to have a good book. So, on to more of the comic booky fantasy kind of stuff happening here. So, I did do a video when I first started my booktube channel, which is probably one of my worst videos, but I was doing some comic book stuff and I had a face mask on, so I had a green face. And let's just say it was probably one of the weirdest and dumbest videos I've done. But I talked about this, which is Mouse. It is a graphic novel by Art Spiegelman about World War II, and it depicts the Nazis as cats and the Jewish population as mice, and it's a beautiful story. I mean, the story itself is so well done. I had to read this for a class of mine during my undergraduate, and I actually had the great opportunity to go to the Milwaukee Art Museum during the time that they had a comic graphic novel art display, and they had a lot of Art Spiegelman's art there, and it was just phenomenal to see it blown up. It was really awesome. So if you haven't already seen this is really, really good. I really, really liked this. It is raw, it's in your face, it's true. It's just, it's really good. So take a look at that. That's really great. I love that one. Then for some of you that know me, I am a big Batman fan. I am not a DC Comics fan. I have never really enjoyed their comics, mostly because their heroes always seem to have everything going for them. Like, for instance, Superman can literally freaking do everything, like everything. You name it, he can do it. Oh, but he can't have kryptonite. Oh no. Whatever, I'm over it. So I really like Batman because Batman is a real guy who just has a lot of money and has a lot of gadgets. So I was really into him for a really long time. I don't have any of his comics because, again, I don't really want to support DC Comics as a whole. I know, I'm crazy. But I saw these two books, and no, I have not read them yet because I just like to own things. I like to have ownership over the things that I like, but I don't sometimes read them right away. So I have Batman Nightfall, a novel by Dennis O'Neil. And this one follows Batman, and the villain is Bane, which Bane is mental. I mean, one of my favorite villains. Like, he is freaking crazy. I mean, Batman and Robin, the worst Batman movie, has Bane in it, and that Bane is crazy. I have not yet seen the Dark Knight version of Bane, but from what I have heard, holy moly, crazy town. So I have that there. And then I also have Batman Unmasked, and this is Analyzing a Cultural Icon by Will Brooker. So this is more like an academic book. I think some classes probably have had it in there, but it just goes through like different areas. So I can give you some idea of what the chapters are like. So so they have like 1939 to 1945 origins and wartime, and then 1954 censorship and queer readings, and then 1961 to 1969 pop and camp, 1986 to 1997 fandom and authorship. So there's a lot of different aspects of that going through the years of Batman's inception and kind of how it affected pop culture and all that kind of thing. So that's more of like that academic-y kind of feel. So if you're not a reader that likes to like know the background behind something, it's probably not the book for you. But for me, that's very much my cup of tea. So the fact that I haven't yet read it tells you something. Ooh. Okay. Moving on, we have these dumbass books. So like I said in a couple of my other videos, when I was in college, I used to walk down to this bookstore, and she would have all these advanced readers copies, and we would be able to take the advanced readers copy for free, and in turn we would write a review for them. So I got these two books. They were published in 2003 and 2005. They're like Maddon and Nee Diamond. I don't even know how to say these, but these were the dumbest books I have ever read. From what I remember, and I read both of them because I picked them up at the same time thinking, woo, a new fantasy novel. I'm going to get this before everyone else does, and it's going to be awesome. Holy shit, was I wrong. So these books are about a little boy who finds out he's like magic, and guess what, guys? His magic tool is a mother trucking pencil. A pencil that talks to him. He uses a pencil to be like magic stuff, and it's just ridiculous. I remember reading these and being like, I'm going to throw up because these are so bad. And I had to struggle through two of them because my loyalty and not wanting to take advantage of the system read both of them to give them reviews. Well, needless to say, when I went in and I talked to the bookstore owner and I said, these are horrible. How in the world does someone get these published? Like, they're awful. They were so freaking bad. Like, the writing was gross. The characters were really stupid. Like, nothing was original other than the damn pencil, which was so dumb. I was like, a pencil? Are you freaking kidding me? Anywho, these are self-published. That's why. So, yeah, I mean, like, look at even the artwork on the front. I mean, why the hell did I pick these up? So, I'd love to say that I would unhaul these books, but I wouldn't want anyone else to go through the trauma of reading these. So I'm going to go ahead and keep them so that I can forever have the two worst books of my all-time ever reading. These were horrible. So I'm going to keep those just to keep them away from other people's eyes. Okay, so then we have, of course, our Suzanne Collins Hunger Games. So I have Hunger Games, I have Mockingjay, I do have Catching Fire as well. My stepdaughter currently has it in her room because she is reading those. Well, I don't think she's reading it right now, but that's what book she was in of the series. So I'm not sure if she's quite ready to move on to Mockingjay. Those were really good books. I really enjoyed them. The movies were good, but there's so much more in the books, I feel, that, I mean, of course the book is better. I just feel like the background and really, really, really understanding that main character is so vital to the story that the movies just don't do her justice. So I really liked the books. I would definitely reread those. I think they are that good. So those were that. Then I have here The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson. I had to read this for one of my classes for, I think it was that same genre writing class that I referred to in my last video. This is a book about, gosh, now I can't remember. Oh yes, okay, so this is about a teenager who is from the States, and she moves to London because her parents' job moves them there. But they're like out in the countryside, and she ends up going to this school within London proper. And some weird murders start happening, and they're like copycat to Jack the Ripper. And so her and her friends are like kind of trying to figure it out, and then it turns out that she can see ghosts, and you're trying to, like, you start to realize why she can see ghosts, and then she actually meets up with some other people that also can see ghosts. So they start to fight against this Jack the Ripper because they think it's his ghost. So this is actually part of a series, which I didn't know at the time, and when I was at Half Price Books, like, I'd say probably like last year sometime, I saw this and then the other books. So I'm excited to, at some point when I have some time, to pick up I think that's a trilogy, because they keep going after this, because there's a lot that happens in this book. So I think the next books will actually give you a lot more information about what is going on as far as why these people can see what they can see. So very, very good book. I like that one a lot. Another ghost book, we have The Summoning. Again, this was an advanced reader's copy when I picked it up, so I was able to read this before it was published at the time, and I liked this one. So this one is, again, about a young adult who can see ghosts, can summon ghosts, essentially, but then she also has friends, I believe, that are other kind of supernatural entities. It says, Chloe Saunders used to have a pretty normal life, but that changed on the day she met her first ghost. Now she finds herself in the midst of some really strange situations. First, she gets locked up in Lyle House, a group home for troubled teens. Then she finds out that there's more to her housemates than meets the eye. Will Chloe be able to uncover the dangerous secrets of Lyle House, or will its skeletons come back to haunt her? So it was pretty good. I liked it. I gave it a pretty good review when I did, and it does have, it's based on a trilogy. So it's the Darkest Powers trilogy. So if you haven't yet read this, definitely young adult novel. It's all young adults that are in the book. So if you like young adult fiction, then this one was pretty good. Supernatural and whatnot. Next book up here, Book of Dead Days. So you can see my theme. I put all like books together. I have not yet read this, but I found this at a rummage sale. It's the Book of Dead Days. Marcus Sedgwick is the author, which I like how that's like signed. That's kind of cool. And then this little guy here, he's like in a cemetery. But this, so it says, set long ago in dark times and brought to life through evocative, strongly visual writing, this novel is packed with drama, mystery, and intrigue. And that's from The Bookseller. But the days between Christmas and New Year's Eve are dead days, when spirits roam the magic shifts restlessly just beneath the surface of our lives. A lot can happen in the dead days. There is a magician called Valerian who must save his own life or pay the price for the pact he made with evil so many years ago. But alchemy and sorcery are no match for the demonic power pursuing him. Helping him is his servant, Boy, a child with no name and no past, and the quick-witted Willow is with them as they dig in dead fields at midnight and are swept into the sprawling blackness of the subterranean city on a journey from which there is no escape. Unknown to any of them, it is Boy who holds the key to all their destinies. His revelations will be shocking. I don't know why I haven't read this yet. I'm going to have to read this soon. I really like that. That's really interesting. Okay. Then I have this book, which I talked about in that really awful comic book video that I was talking about. So this is Fanboy and Goth Girl, or excuse me, The Astonishing Adventures of Fanboy and Goth Girl. This was another one of those advanced reader's copies that I got from that bookstore. I really liked this one. So this is, again, like a young adult. It follows two people, two teenagers in high school, and their kind of weird friendship because they're complete polar opposites. And it's very, very intriguing. This goth girl is such a witch. It's comical. She's very mean, but I really, really like this one. I want to say that something like this was made into a movie. I want to say it was, but like I said, I read this before it was even published, so I really liked that one. It was really good. Then we have Aragog and Eldest. So this is the dragon books. I really liked Aragog. No, whatever. I'm literally losing my voice because I'm talking too much. But these books are really good. It's about a boy who finds a dragon egg, and kind of from there, and then you find... Oh, I almost threw up. That scared me. So anyways, these are only the first two. I believe it's actually, I think there are 4 of them. I want to say there are 4. I think it's like and then Inheritance. I don't know. But anywho, these are the first 2. I got the first 2 and got read through them, and then I like moved on to other things because the next one wasn't out yet. And then by the time it was out, I was far gone from the dragon stuff. These are really good. If you like dragons and you like, fantasy novels, these are really good. I think the author, this Christopher Poleni, I don't know how to say that, was like 15 or 19 when he started writing these books. So that being the fact of who the writer is just like crazy to me, because I'm 33 and my short stories are like something you see in like little kids books. I mean, it's ridiculous. But anywho, really good. So if you haven't already, read those suckers. Then this guy I found in storage. You can see it says stories on it. And then because I was obsessed, I put a little golden book guy on the back. But these are by moi. Yeah, stories by me. And I made a little table of contents. Copyright 1994. So, yeah, aren't I so good at storytelling and writing? I mean, look at these pictures. Aren't they amazing? I said, no, not until I get that plant. I said, please. Mom and Dad said no. There's a little car in there. Look at this. Isn't this wonderful? I mean, some of them aren't even colored in. That's how great I am. But yeah, so I found this in storage and I just, yeah, Copper. Oh my gosh, I must have been in 2nd grade because Copper was a friend of mine who was such a bitch. She was so mean and she would get me in trouble all of the time. I got in so much trouble with this girl and it was never my fault. And she would always blame it on me. So her mom, who was our landlord, by the way, would always say, oh, my phone's ringing. Sorry. She would always be like, 1 second. Hello? Hey, I'm filming a YouTube thing right now.
Well, I just got a quick question.
Okay.
When I'm looking at your pictures on Instagram,
Yeah.
how do I keep looking at old pictures? How
You-
do I stay on the person's thing to look at the other pictures?
So on Instagram, you got to click on their profile. So instead of, you got to click on their actual like main picture and then it'll bring you to their profile and then you can scan through all of their pictures.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye. She's gonna be real pissed that I put this in a video, but yeah, that was that. So anyways, we found this in storage and I was like, oh my gosh, you gotta keep that. I mean, whenever you find something from when you were a kid and that you did that, I mean, so that's a keeper. So then I have all of the Wicked books, and I have not yet read any of these, but I have been slowly accumulating them because I wanted to read Wicked, and then I didn't realize that they were actual, like, a series kind of thing. So anytime I see one and it's a real good deal, I'll pick it up, and then with the intention of then reading them. So I have Wicked. I also have, let's see here, Lost. Okay, and then I have, it looks like Mirror Mirror, and then I have Son of a Witch, and then I also have Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister. So anytime I saw any of these Gregory Maguire, yeah, anytime I saw any of these books, I will pick them up because I would really like to read them. I love fairy tales. I love Wizard of Oz. Oh my gosh, we used to watch it like every year. I think around Christmas time it was always on. But so I picked up all of those books. I think there's a couple more. I might be missing one or two, but really wanted to get into that. So I've been accumulating those as we go for some reading. So on to the comic or graphic novels that are up here on this shelf. So over here I have a Scanner Darkly, and this is by Philip K. Dick. This is also a movie, and this is from that movie, so it's the movie graphics. But let me tell you, this was the most bizarre story I think I've ever seen. So freaking weird. It's about these people who like disguise themselves with these bodysuits, and they are trying to disarm like this major drug syndicate that's basically providing these drugs that are like everywhere, but they're like pills or something. And then there's like double agents, and you don't know what's right or what's wrong. All these people are on drugs. Like, it's so freaking weird. And so Keanu Reeves is the main character in and the movie is in this same graphic. So the same graphics that this is in, like, these are like almost identical to what the movie looked like. So really weird, guys. Really, really, really weird. So if you like weird stuff and drugs, that's a good one to see. So on to my comics. So these three here are League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and again, in that crazy weird video I did in the beginning, I talk about these ones, but I have Century 1910, and then I have the first two volumes of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. If you know these, it's a bunch of different characters fighting stuff, but in like 1900, like early on, so it's not like modern day technology and that kind of thing. So I have that. I don't know where I'm gonna set all these things, so I'll just set them back over here. And then I have Marvel 1602. Love this. So this follows Marvel characters like Miss Marvel, Wolverine, Cyclops, Professor X, but in year 1602. So very, very interesting. The artwork is so good. I love it. But it's kind of telling the stories there about that, and kind of puts them within that context of being in 1602, like what they would kind of have fought, and it's really good. I really liked it. So that's that. And then I have my Fables collection. So Fables, this is the first one here. Fables follows Fable characters. So, you know, the Three Little Pigs, Snow White, Ruby Red, I think is one of the names, Beauty and the Beast, Little Boy Blue, Jack Corner, all of those characters, but like in modern day times, living amongst humans, and kind of how their society is, and the you know, friction that occurs, and trying to get back to their homeland, and the homeland has been like taken over by this villainous character who they kind of fight here and there. It looks like I have like the first one. I don't think this is the first one, but I have like 2, 4, 5, 6. So I'm missing some that were in between. I don't know where those could have gone, which kind of irritates me, but yeah, so I do have those. I really like those. There are many more, and I'd love to get more, and I sometimes will do that. But graphic novels like that are kind of expensive, so. Oh, my throat's getting so dry talking so much. Then I have V for Vendetta. So this is by Alan Moore and David Lloyd. And it was made into a movie, which the movie is phenomenal. And it has Stephen Fry. I mentioned that in a different video. But not that he's one of the main characters, because he's not. But Natalie Portman, I believe, is in it. And then I can't remember who plays V. I hate when that happens. But I picked this up after that movie came out because I loved the movie so much, and I have not yet had a chance to go through it. I'm going to have to put that on a TBR because, I mean, the artwork in here is so cool. The pages are like newspaper pages, which to me is so cool. Like, I really like that a lot. So I would like to read this because I loved the movie, and I can't imagine that this is probably very, very good. So we have that. I have Heaven's War. So this is made by a different, Image graphic novels. This was really weird, and I picked it up because it looked different, and I can't quite recall. I read it a couple years back, but it's about an angel, essentially, and really bizarro. Like, I don't know that I really liked it all that much. It was really different, but the cover really made me think, like, ooh, that looks really interesting. So I picked it up, but it wasn't my favorite, so. Here we go with my Anita Blake. So, Anita Blake, which is that Laurel Hamilton, which I mentioned in my last video. I have her books here. And this is the Guilty Pleasures, Volume 1. So the first novel is Guilty Pleasures. So Anita Blake is a vampire hunter, essentially. But she works with vampires as well. And let me just show you. I gotta show you this dude. Because he, like, is so gorgeous. I can't believe. Look at that man. Look at him. Is he not? Look at their hair is like the same. They should totally have babies. Oh my gosh, he's just so gorgeous. He's a stripper at a vampire like thing, like in True Blood, how they have that one place. Oh man, so good looking. Yep. But I mean, the graphics in here are just so good. It's just so awesome. Like, I love it. I love this so much. And I actually bought these. So this is the one that I have that's like a hardcover compilation, but I actually have a lot of the comics. So apparently my camera battery was exhausted and just turned off randomly, so I charged it for a little bit. I only have a few more things left, so I'm gonna go as quickly as I can because I did not charge it all the way. I wanted to just get this done because I only have a few more things left. So let's get back into it. Okay, so the last thing I showed you was that Anita Blake, and how gorgeous the man is in there, the vampire. Oh, so, anywho. Okay, so then I have the Uncanny XMen. So these are the original X-Men from when they were published, and it has like the actual artwork on the back. So these were bought from, I think I got them at Barnes and Noble. So they're just volumes 1 and 2. Yeah, so it says Barnes and Noble on here. So they just put together all of them in there. So it's like the original comics. I love these old ones. They're just so cool. You kind of see those characters from the beginning, which I really enjoyed. My stepdad actually had these similar kind of comic book compilations for Spider-Man. I really liked the Spider-Man ones. Those ones were really good. I liked those a lot. When you grow up, in the years that I have grown up, and where Marvel Universe really has exploded, when you see all of the movies, you know, in your head, you really wonder where all the stories come from or came from. So when you know it, and as a reader, as a comic book or graphic novel reader, you really love seeing your, you know, superheroes come to life. And just like any other book, some of them are well done and some of them not so much. But really loved these there. And then I also have Infinity War. So this is kind of the end all. Again, the artwork is very similar to what we've seen before, but really, really good. So if you are a Marvel Universe watcher, you have seen how this all has come to fruition. So that was Infinity War. And then I also have, so my favorite Marvel character, oddly enough, and probably because at the time of looking at comics, I really have always really loved Rogue. So Rogue has always been my favorite when it comes to comics. I love her story. You know, it's so sad. You know, she can't touch anybody, and then that strip of white, and I wanted for the longest time to have those strips in my hair. But anywho, so I have this, and then just like Anita Blake, I do have all like the individual kind of comics as well, which I actually have down below, which are a lot. So I have a lot of comics that I have here, and some are in plastic and some are not. So here, like, I have Anita Blake, and this is number 1. I have through, looks like, I have like a lot of them. So I have like a lot of Anita Blake. So these I all got individually. They all tell different stories. So there's these 1 through 5 or 6. That is then, so these are all the same exact story that you'll see in that hardcover that I got. And then I have, then there are more as well. And yeah, so I have those. Oh, there's some more. So then here you see Laughing Corpse. So that's that second novel. So I have a ton of those as well. So I have all of those. I just don't have those plastics for all of them. And then I have 1 through 5 of 1602. So they're all little singlets. And this is a little bit different. So this is 1602 Fantastic Four. So the Fantastic Four, that's these ones. And that there were 5 different ones for that. I mean, the artwork on these are just phenomenal. So I really liked 1602. So there was 5 of those. And then I also have Marvel Zombies. So the zombies were really cool too. Really different. I don't have all of them, but I have a couple of them. I was getting them for Christmas and stuff. So I just have, it looks like maybe 2 here right away. And then I have I don't know if anyone saw this show. It was on some, I want to say it was on Sci-Fi, but it was this show run by, God, now I'm losing his name, but Stanley. Was run by him, and it was how these people were trying to become a superhero in a comic book, and then this ultimately was the winner, so I got that comic book as well, because I really liked that show. It was really cool. And then here I have Anytime my freaking bra strap. Anytime I picked up anything from Rogue's universe. So you can see here, these are all Rogue, different kinds of Rogue. So I would go to the comic book store, I'd walk down there, and I'd pick up different versions of her story. I've always really liked her. And then so really loved Rogue. And then along with Rogue, I loved Gambit. I really, really liked Gambit as well. I don't think I have much of his storyline, so Rogue and Gambit are like, I shouldn't do that. Okay, so Rogue and Gambit were like together, so I really like the both of them. And then these ones really cool. So these are Legion of Monsters. So this one was like a vampire one, and then there was a werewolf one, and then there was this Santana one, or I don't know how you would say it, but this bitch was crazy. And then I just have another one that was like Marvel Classics of the X-Men. So that was really cool. I do have some of those. I don't really buy comics anymore. I have somewhat outgrown that, but I do sometimes get comics. Like I just got a Bob's Burgers Christmas one, which I really liked because that was really cool. I'll have to find that so I can show it to you sometime, but I got that from my stepdad. My stepdad has a ton of comics, like from when they were originally released and everything, so he loves comics. So then the last thing up here is I just have a couple of those bigger books. So on the one side I have Tales from 1001 Nights, so I do want to read that. That's a classic. Picked it up. This is one of those Borders, so if you remember Borders, but I got this at Walden Books. If you are familiar with what Walden Books is, they don't exist anymore, but that's where I got this book. And then I have the original illustrated Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. Love Sherlock Holmes, love it. So I will go through these every once in a while and read those. Those stories are really good. I like those a lot. Hound of Baskervilles is probably one of my favorites. And then I have the complete tales of Edgar Allan Poe. So again, this is a chunker, has all of his stuff in it. Really, really, really love Edgar Allan Poe. Then on the other side, I have all of my Dan Brown, Robert Langdon series books. So I have Angels and Demons, the Da Vinci Code, so it goes Angels and Demons, Da Vinci Code, The Lost Symbol, Inferno, and then I have just recently read Origin. So once I finish my wrap-up video, Origin will go back up there for that. So that's the rest of this shelf. So that was 5 shelves. This is part 4 in that reorganization series. So if you haven't checked out the other videos, go ahead and do that. If you're still here, I think this one turned out to be a little bit longer. Rockstar status, man. Thanks for watching. Make sure if you haven't already that you hit subscribe, that notification bell, so you see my videos come through. And most of all, comment below. Are you into graphic novel and comic books as well? Have you heard of the ones that I have? What ones would you recommend? Do you like Fables? Have you read Anita Blake? I love her. Rogue? Is Rogue one of your favorites or your least favorites? Go ahead and let me know. And you know what's next. Happy reading, guys. Bye!